Okay, fine. From yesterday's session, one thing we left out was position related position fixed. Talked about it. It's just the same. Only difference the position fixed is if you position fixed to any element or div, it means there. Even you scroll the page, it's over there. Or like Facebook, all those toolbars, all those menu which you see nowadays, which stay there even if you scroll the page, use kind of positioning. The problem with that positioning is IE doesn't support position fixed till 6, I'm sure, 7, I'm not sure, but there's IE doesn't support in that way. So you hack it. When say if it's IE, you have to do some JavaScript kind of hack to that kind of functionality. You manually place your div to that particular div. On scroll also, you update the coordinates. So
latest one?
Yeah, most of the browser Chrome, yes, yes, you give the CSS property fixed and it will stay there. If you use the demo, if you want, you can go ahead.
I think we can go.
You have seen it already in the Facebook and all. So you take any on the parent element or any element, you say position is fixed, the element stays there on the page. Okay. So let's start with CSS today. So now we got the idea of what is HTML and all. So we'll go into the CSS. What's CSS? First, let's look at, and then we'll see why CSS, because that's important for CSS. CSS are the presentation rules for your web page. So usually it's like your HTML is for your content, CSS is some structure of your page, CSS is for the presentation, major part, and then JavaScript, which is not there in this picture, for the functionality part. Okay, not logic, we can say functionality. So what should happen if I click this button? What should happen after 10 minutes? So those kinds of functionality you use through JavaScript. So today we'll talk about CSS. So CSS is cascading scripts and see what cascading is. So the big why somebody introduced CSS because they wanted to keep the presentation part separate from the HTML content part, and which actually the information part. So used to happen before CSS. I'm working with the UI since 2003 kind of. So for that, when CSS was very minimal, you use a lot of this kind of HTML, lot of tables, and with lot of spacer GIFs to achieve some effects and lot of to
coded like that.
Yeah, and you see most of the old applications like in this state only. Yeah.
One color and space you define, and all that CDTR you copy paste.
Copy paste, and Dreamweaver used to be the tool.
Dreamweaver.
So life was very difficult with all this thing because you want to modify. Let's say you have a standard template. Now you want something different, so you have to go manually in all those pages and manually edit it. I have modification in 3,000 pages once. So that also providing browser support was not that easy, because in CSS you can write different even rules. You can include a separate CSS for a different browser if it's not supporting that. It was not easy without CSS kind of thing. If you have all this using, you are doing all the presentation logic using tags like font and BE tags and all other tags. So that's the reason we have this CSS. So we have one style here. Let's look at the style. We'll talk about this source of styles later. And I added a slide for it. So basically CSS has three, I would say, two parts. One is the select part, that is dot footer, and next is the list of properties. So CSS works in that way. First you say what to select, which element to select. So you put some condition here, sort of. Here dot footer means all the elements which has class footer. Can you see? Okay. So here we have find one style, let's say dot footer, where it says 90%. So we are saying find all the elements to the user, and up this the width is equal to 90% to that. So first part is selector part, second part rules part. CSS rules. CS rules will talk more about what type of rules, or some of the rules will go through in more details. But that's how your CSS rule, and style sheet is just a collection of these rules. So multiple styles defined one after another, and those all selectors and some values, selectors and some values. Okay. Now all the CSS you can define. You as a developer can define it at three places. One line styles, where you can CSS properties as a attribute of any tag. You say style is equal to, and then you give column separated properties. You say with bold, with something and all and all. Then you can inside your document, anywhere in the document, primarily on the end part, you say okay, you say styles, and then you give all those styles. So browser includes all those styles. Third way is you put all the styles in a separate file, which is most recommended way. We'll show the advantage of that. Then put it in a separate file and include it like this. Link is style sheet, whatever is the location of the file relative to your current file, and it's a type. Even if you don't give these things, it's okay. Okay. So any questions?
So first one, in line one, you are defining that attribute for a div element.
Yes.
So basically, I am bold, so that something will get printed as a bold.
And that will apply only to this particular element. Okay. We are not talking about all the divs.
Correct. Correct.
So because when you include or define this as a part of element attribute, by default applies to that element only. And if you define some styles here, because see, you are not specifying any selector here. You already inside element.
Yeah. So the second example, what's happening? Will it get applied on title? Or
No.
Have a dot footer?
See, what we miss here is the body part. Yeah. The body.
Here we are just defining a style.
Yes.
That will be used by some other element.
Yeah. Just I wanted to tell you that you can define some style here, like in a style tag. So what is in this code is the part of this page, and inside there is some element with a class is footer.
If I remember correctly, even certain HTML elements also can use this, right? Like this is B, and then you can use.
We'll come to that. That is tag-based selectors. We will so this is class-based selector. We'll talk about all like tag-based selector, ID-based selectors.
So
okay.
I think if you can go out of selectors, what is selector?
So you want to go that first?
No, whatever. I mean.
So I was going to first. I was talking about where all you can define the styles, and we'll talk about what styles you can define and what properties and all. Okay. So here the things remember is in these three places you define the styles. And let me quickly tell you, which is not there in the slide, that was the best way and where to use which one. But you try to define all your styles in the external file. Why is good? Because you can define all your files in a single CSS file, and that file can be like reused all the pages. So you define your styles in your page, either in the as an inline style or embedded style. If you change in other, you can't reuse in some other. So that's problem. and when to use that when you want to define some style which are specific to this page only. So you have some common styles, and we'll talk more about it, that how style gets applied. So if there are two.
And I think few properties you can override.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the overriding in detail.
Sure.
Okay, and then the style again should be that specific to that element only. So these will be used in that way. So by all the styles should go there, and then if you want to override some and not only override, if you are sure that these style will be used in this page only, then you can find there. But we'll try to add a CSS file so that even in future you can use them in some other page. So that's the. And there are two more style sheets which you find they are already there in your browser. One is the style sheet, and there is a browser default style sheet. The default style sheet is there inside. In case of Firefox, is there in this Firefox whatever is the folder and resource html.css. The style sheet from the browser. So then per user system there can be multiple users. So there is a per user style sheet is also there.
So basically, what you may set in preferences and all.
Yes, that you can change it. I have done this. You can do a hack. Yeah.
That is like by direct editing. I'm saying like you can go to browser and you change the font and also that. Does that go into this?
Yes, it will go, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
What will go means, and how the override this one, or how this can override the other one. The bad use is, if you say, let's say you means for some certain kind of people, disabled people or something, you want to increase the font or increase the contrast. So that type of style you can define here. But as a user, not as a developer. As a developer, you have no control over these styles. So let's first talk about various selectors. So as said, the selector is a way to say inside your CSS file. See, on the right side we have a CSS rule, and left side there is a HTML code for it. Okay, there it is just a part of it. It can be a full page. Okay, don't like there is only one element here. There can be multiple or whatever. So when we specify any selector, it means okay, apply to this particular element. So let's read first rule, right side. It says hash. Hash is for ID. So in ML elements, you can have a ID attribute. So the ID is equal to, and should be some unique string basically, and you should not repeat any ID in any element. So per page, every ID should be unique. Okay. So say hash, so it means it's an ID and content. So you are saying to the browser, okay, look for a element whose ID is content, and I style to that element. Okay, as simple as that. Okay,
It's like from CSS to HTML.
Yeah.
Like,
so you have your CSS file.
So in CSS you are defining which element you should go and apply yourself. Is that?
Miss, see, go to your page. HTML comes. There is a link to a CSS file, or you have defined some CSS in your page like embedded styles, or you have added some style inside that element. Okay, three ways having. So when you define as a part of embedded or external file, you always add selector. Like elements you want to apply this style, you have to tell the browser. That's what you are doing by saying, okay, I look for element whose ID is content, apply style width is equal to 90%. So that is point to remember is for ID we say hash. So hash content means look for an element with an ID content. And as I have written, ID selectors should do with single elements.
Yeah.
And okay, IDs are unique, just per element kind of. Okay. There are class-based selectors. So we represent class as a dot inside CSS file. So say dot content. Look, added more HTML. But dot content is not there. Typo. So or maybe
or you have used big here. So
yes,
big, that should be, instead of content,
that should be big. Okay.
Okay.
So it's so here assume that it's dot big. Okay, and dot big is saying look all those elements whose class is equal to big and apply style. And for example, I have taken only one rules, means one styles. You can add multiple, like hundreds of style if you want. Width is equal to 2%, 200 pixels, font size, some 150%, background is this. So you can have multiple styles. Okay.
Can go on. Right. ID
Class based. Class based is for multiple elements. So when you say dot class, that is because on your HTML page you can have multiple elements with classes. So it matches with various elements. And so the end is you should define those classes with reusing kind of functionality. For example, you have some list items. There will be multiple items in that list. So class you will give to that list item that will use in all those. So to like for every ID, but if you only know how to define using ID, what you will do? You try to write for every list item one by one. So instead you can just say class and add that class. So your one rule can serve all those elements. Okay. Is tag based. You can after we'll see how you combine all these things. We are one by one, first ID, then class, then tag.
I was asking.
So you can also say what type of element.
Tag.
So, tag. You can say div, and then it will be applied to all divs. You have span, and you can apply to all the span. Similar way. So earning this much, you will realize how to use that. For example, if I want to apply to a div, it will apply to all the divs. Then why this type of style? There should be either some ID or class. So tag based. But as I go to the next selector, so these are three basic selectors: ID, class, and tag based. Then combine all these three with some rules. Okay, and then you can like more specifically you can say like which element to select. So one is grouping. If commas in the selectors, so it's like a kind of relation. It's or P or main. Apply these styles. Okay. So instead of
all the header one, this is the first one is
So
second one is also tag based.
No, that there is no restriction like you can define like you can't mix based and all.
Yeah, so first two are like tag based, the last is
class based. Only thing which we are trying to save here is, let's say I have three elements. One
define three.
So instead of we can say comma all the selectors, and those are my rules.
Got it.
If you have two classes, one is with a name and the other is a different name, but you can have common styles. Okay, that is one way of grouping all the selectors.
Can we get main comma dot? Two names also can be used.
Anything. We'll see. See, every selector is a separate entity in itself. So it's not like you can't come to that when we'll say dot class and then space tag. Space is for decent selector. Selector. Okay, it can be like any children of the parent element. Like it be grandchildren also. It's not that children. So when you say any, it can be anything, space anything. So that means say aloud div dot. So look any element which is a div, which is a class. We'll speak more about like how to add these things. Means tag plus class, ID plus class, those kind of relations.
Is there a link between div and dot abc?
No, this is one word. Before this come after. I mean, first we should talk about it, how to define this kind of div dot abc. So okay, let me quickly define it when you say div.abc, that means all divs with class abc. Okay. Div elements, that is the first criteria, first matching criteria. It's and basically.
Okay, if there is a suppose table and which has class
ABC, might not apply there.
So
it's like a and, look for those elements which is the divs and look for the class. We said div class, I mean tag dot class. Okay, and the space is like saying look for any children. It can be direct children or grandchildren. I mean at any level.
Okay.
But be somewhere down in that tree. We'll talk about DOM tree in some JavaScript session more detail. So the way, so you can, practically use that. It's like saying, okay, look for a div with class ABC, and inside all the p tags on my rule. You have some block on the page with which is on the container. You have a div with a ABC, and now I want to make all the paragraphs. The font should be bold. So that is to apply those rules. So space thing is very important.
Also, like all div elements with the class name .abc.
Element P.
All the element P should be like this.
Yeah. Here the point to remember is no rule will be applied to the div class, div element. It comes to the last one, the last selected element, because you are saying look for all the P tags. Bring a pan
inside a div
which have an ancestor. Which ancestor a div with a ABC. So it starts the browser starts from the right side, matching the rules. So let's say it looks for all those P elements. Then it's shortlisted based upon which are having at some point of time some ancestor as a div.
Yeah.
And of those divs which are having all class as ABC.
So if I want one more tag based element, so I have to write one more, or can I give a space and then tag like h1 for example?
Sorry, where? In the same div?
In the same line, div.abc space p/h1 I can do, or be an and?
No, this can nest up to any level.
Okay.
So you say div.abc, inside that there is another div.xyz or only div or via ID, anything. Make class only.
So it will all become and.
No, or. I think some of it will be or.
It's not or. It's like a kind of, think it as a tree, because it's like a tree. Start from the below leaf nodes. So this is like you are specifying.
What his question is that if I say div.abc, then p, then h1, h2, h3. P that is or, right?
Comma or.
Yeah. So what to give? That's what the.
No,
but should give comma. Should give comma.
What's your requirement? Means.
Requirement is h1 and p. Both should be
inside div only, or anywhere in the page. Then say div.abc, comma div.abc h1. You can't.
You can't say div.abc is to p, then comma div.abc space
h1.
You can't do p comma h1.
But see, I told you that inside the comma, every rule is a separate selector.
Okay. So p comma h1, it means anyone in the whole HTML.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any h1 in the whole HTML should have this.
So you need to have a full rule.
Nice.
In a comma thing.
So comma is the basically separated.
Or yes, and separated by comma is a separate selector.
Okay.
It itself. Okay. Then child selector. So like
before Descendant you had one, right? Can you just go back?
Grouping.
Grouping.
Okay. We were discussing right
just now. Comma.
Grouping and using grouping, what kind of selectors we achieve, that's what we are talking
Yes,
about.
and this is like yeah. And I have child selectors. So here, instead of space, you give greater than sign. That is inside div. That will be the full of children. Like a tree. So you have node the div.abc and the first children. First children.
Immediate descendant.
Immediate descendant.
Okay.
Yes. So, just look at the examples. So when we say div class ABC, and inside that, if this P is there, then will apply. Let's say if we have this P is not there directly, first there is a div, and inside P is there, this rule won't apply.
Okay.
So that is the level. If it is there, then this rule will apply.
Can you repeat?
Okay, so what he is saying is that if the div class ABC was on top and div was below, in that case, P is not a direct descendant of class ABC. So that style will not be applied to P. Now that because P is immediate descendant of div element with class ABC.
So think like a tree.
Okay.
At the top you have div which contains two elements, one P element, one div element with a class or something. So if I define some rule like this, it will apply to the left only, the first level. If it is there down, it won't apply. But if we put the greater than sign with a space, if we say simply div.abc space P, that doesn't matter where exactly the P, if it is the same tree there, or it will apply.
So what was the previous one called?
Yeah,
What
can
was
you
the
go
name?
to not
Descendant selector and child selector.
Okay, it can be grandchildren, grandchildren.
Exactly.
Also, even on that, this will get
Yes.
applied. Okay, that is the difference.
Okay. Then this is universal selector. When you say star, and apply this rule.
Oh, okay. This is just one.
Use that. If this and then star apply anything. And there is a rare kind of scenario where adjacent sibling selector, sibling selector you want. So it will, if it is the next element, just next element in the same level, then it will apply, otherwise it won't.
Next.
Just element.
Not child.
Not child.
Next element. If it's completed over there.
So basically, if there was something like H1 in between, then it wouldn't apply.
Then it wouldn't apply.
So combination of first div with class ABC and then a
The
paragraph.
next should copy. So now, as I have told you, going from a more spread selectors to very narrow, where you can pinpoint a single element and apply the rules, because you as a developer, CSS
Or a combination.
require that. Okay.
So say immediate next, right?
Yes.
So in terms of a tree,
It's on the same level.
it should be on the same level.
No, you won't match if it is on the like.
Correct. So basically both.
I'm not sure. I don't
you
want
are
to
right.
make that
You are
statement.
right. See, because the div class ABC, and the ending tag also. If the ending tag was not there, then this rule.
I'm not very sure about it. If the next element is at, let's say, if this P is not there, it's downstairs. Your div ends just after this, and then the P comes.
I think like.
No, it apply because we are saying it's sibling. Not sibling if it is not at the same level.
Immediately following.
It should be at the same level.
If there was a
Not
P, even
immediately.
after the last div also it would apply for both.
It won't. It won't, because we are saying these are siblings.
No, but it says
after
immediately following an element.
After the last div, if we find a P,
No,
that will apply, right?
that doesn't make sense.
In the DOM tree, it should be at the same level.
You are calling it as a sibling.
Yeah, I understand.
It won't be a sibling if it is at some other level.
No, so we should concentrate only on sibling, or we should concentrate
but
on.
we have said div.abc.
So
Look at
div.abc.
Okay. Div.abc.
That makes sense.
another thing is, even if there is a div and end div, right? There is an H1 after that div.
Yeah.
Div class ABC, there is an H1, and there is a P.
Yeah.
Right? It will survive. Right?
No, what you are saying, it should.
So
if they
after div,
there is a H1.
in between div and P, there is H1.
Then it won't apply.
That's what happens.
That's the next element.
The definition
Yeah.
is immediately.
But in case of DOM, it is still immediate, right? They are at the same level. In tree,
No, that means again. Let's
Yeah, I
talk
think
about
what you are saying.
it means it will talk left also, right? Left, right. That is also.
But how is that work? No, it means if it is like defining according to this,
can talk about this element. If it is there, if it is there, it won't apply to this. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And even if this rule, if it's not here, if there's some down there or it's there up, it won't apply.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Not apply.
Yeah, so all are siblings, but it is like immediate.
After that.
Okay.
So that is also a flow, right? So this is there. So this flow, but even this flow will apply because the way it comes that defines the flow also. You can have a question like why we have this kind of crazy selectors? Because you don't have a control over the HTML. Your HTML coming is from some third source. Let's say some RSS feeds or some others were all together. You don't have any control over the HTML. Now you select and apply the rules. So in those conditions, you need those crazy type of selectors.
Yeah. Suppose you are getting a data from somewhere.
Yes.
If a data comes, so you want a data to look something.
Exactly.
Or if some highlighter you want.
Okay, so we have more selectors also. These are straightforward. So one is attribute selector. You can target any attribute inside your element which match this criteria. So if, for example, you can say image src is small.
Image is a tag. So in a tag also you can
specify the attribute, and attribute can be anything. And there are regular expressions are also available. Okay, you can also say okay, source matches with some regular expression. So
it's kind of flexibility good.
It's much, but in the performance, not. Everything comes with the cost in computer science. So if you get the more power, then the performance will definitely degrade. So apply too many these kind of selectors. The user will take more time to process those selectors. Okay. So then thing called pseudo-classes. They are like the default classes kind of. So in browser they are available. Like link, visited, over, and active. These are all four states of a link or a anchor tag. So and can have like whether it's a link, whether you have visited. Most of the sites, if you go, you click and go back, it becomes pink. No, it becomes that is you can Google it to anything, but the default thing is blue and pink kind of. Okay, so you can define there using this thing you can say whatever my let's say anchor tag a, whatever class I have added, and then colon link. So what color at the time of link, what should be the color at the when the state is visited, when so is that thing. And one to remember this thing is there should be a certain order in which you define the CSS classes. In this the same way. First link should come, then the visit should come, then hover negative. Late and V H A T E. So
what?
So in the CSS file, let's say defining styles for various states of a link. When the is in a fresh state, when it's visited, when you are hovering mouse over it, it should change the color, and then it's active or not. Okay, and if you want it to work properly, you have to find all these rules in the same order. If let's say first you defined hover and then you say link, then it will work properly. Inside your CSS file you define in the same order. So remember like what is the order is love LOVE, so LV and then HATE.
Just pseudo classes is what? It's just like you are telling, or pseudo classes is a
feature of this browser. So it has this default. In case of links, we have all these pseudo classes. Means they are the default classes kind of from browser. What is that? Oh, I didn't send it. Oh,
what is it called?
Yes,
we are the only ones to attend.
So these are all.
I got the change. Oh, we can't.
The correct mail. Yeah. Okay. So these classes are available inside the browser. So in case of anchor tags, A tags,
Which are the classes?
link, visited, or these are not like custom
These are
classes.
properties or classes?
These are classes, pseudo classes. That's trying to say. So in case of anchor tags, you have 4 pseudo classes available to means mark all these states.
Can we look at this like system defined sort of?
Yeah, I was saying kind of default is available in the browser.
This is like
Okay,
system
so
defined.
in my HTML
Yeah,
page,
system defined
suppose
much better.
I'm creating a hyperlink.
Yes,
I can say or href is there or anchor tag is there.
yeah.
I can say class is colon equal to
Double colon link. So we say a double colon link. You are defining a style for that particular state. Okay, or anchor tag.
मतलब जब तुम when you use link here, you give a color that your hyperlink when it's not visited will have that color. So I think you show an example if you have.
No, I want. I don't have. Let me see.
just add line, no?
No. Oh yeah, I can do that. Okay. Yeah, let's add some links somewhere.
So then you find a style for that.
Include a class also. If otherwise you can just leave it. So this one is CSS. So there, and it's all coming as pink. See, browser has a default styles. We all talked about it. Can you see that?
It's not blue.
Pink. Wait a second. See, now you see that it's pink. It's not actually, it's purple, but for all colors are same. Nearly. Oh. So let's go to the Cisco thing. You want a different, let's say, you want that this should come as a pink or purple color. You want your own color. So say, so this style are not case sensitive. You can say capital or small. That doesn't matter. And then you say color is for font color, and let's make it red. Okay,
Make it yellow because I think red and pink it will not.
Okay.
Some problem with this.
Yes, let's do green.
Yeah. Okay.
So
But how is linked? You have not linked it.
It's linked by default.
no. Let me see. E dot visited.
What is the meaning of A? A like
Anchor tag. Yeah.
Anchor tag.
Let me quickly we find some class. No, let's define the class here. We see why I didn't work with still not. What happened, man?
for visited.
Oh man. Okay.
Listed.
Yeah.
Go back to A dot.
Yeah. Even come. Yeah. So then, add some new link.
So this visited is applicable for.
So basically, okay, let's talk it in that way. Every anchor tag or a tag have 4 states. One is state, then the next is visited state, then active state, and hover state. So if you want to add different styles for different state, then you those pseudo classes, they are already available. You can define that.
But those classes are applicable only for
Anchor tags. Yeah, for anchor tags.
Okay. Just anchor also.
Want to do that? Okay.
Vishal has gone into some.
Okay. Love, hate, over. No. Oh, that. Okay, let me first. Yeah, color yellow. Yeah, font. See, no, it didn't work. That point. Work because there is no bold property of it. Let's say if I say in the below one, font,
Priority.
that's what I was talking about there. You should find them in the same order, otherwise they won't work properly. Love, hate. See, now you, wait a second. Font, my spelling.
What is the order that?
Order is first link, then visited,
then over.
yeah. Now work. Okay. So whenever you define the pseudo class for anchor tag, you define the same order. Let's get back to the presentation. So these are things available. These are not other pseudo classes, not applicable only for anchor tags. They are applicable for the one selector. So it is like you define some selector and then you add column. So it's find this element and next element to that element apply my style. But all pseudo classes are not supported across all the browsers in a proper standard way. So some support some don't. Some of them are means you have to check as per your application. Either you do some hack to it, or you means just don't use this thing. Use some other way. Just let's have a look at the CSS values also. CSS can have word kind of values where you say, so we use property and its value. That are all CSS rules all about. So you can have other words. Words can be like the color name. We have red, yellow, and then font weight bold. So browser already knows like what should be the values accordingly. Similarly, you can have numerical values, and there are various types of units available for numerical values. So in terms of size and all, you can say pixels, you can say percentage, you can say inch. So there are units available in which you can define, and they are basically categorized into two things. One is absolute values, like 100 pixels, 200 pixels, or PC is, I guess, some no, percentage is down there. It's like points. It's like not depends upon the pixels. So there's nothing. Okay, I will bring. So this is relative. Relative is EM based upon whatever is your content size, font size kind of. So what is the font size? Accordingly, it will take the value. Then you have percentage. To most of the cases, to the parent. PC is some Pika. Yeah, that was something. Color values. So in also there are 2-3 ways. One is like full hex code, color hash, and then you have a full hex, 6-digit hex value. So these are basically RGB colors. So first two are then second 2 digits are for green and the third are for blue. So if all same like 3, 3, 6, 6, 9. So for a double digit you can replace with a all single. something like 3669. If you replace all, like a shorthand for it, and then specify like a function, RGB function, RGB all the values one by one.
What is it, 369 again?
All RGB is 699.
So if
you numbers are same. So 3 is for R, red.
Yeah, okay.
6 is for G, green. 9 for the B, blue. Okay. If both the numbers are same for each color, then you can shorten it by.
It came like this because the earlier support for colors was limited. Browser were not supporting all those million colors. Some supporting only 256, then it increased to some 128, then 64K, then 128 billion. So where is the count, exact count of this thing? So right, initially days the colors used to be in very limited, with most of the colors used to be like 3333 or 66666. To create a shorthand, they created this thing. So this is the increase of CSS properties. Means you can classify your CSS properties. One, positioning and layout, which we yesterday we discussed about, where you change the positioning and the like the display part and the margin, padding, all those kind of things. You are want to style the box itself. And ground related properties, I don't go into details of each and every properties because that will take too much time, and they are pretty much straightforward. You specify the value and it will come. For example, background related properties, you can specify a color, you can specify an image. Then you are specifying an image, you can specify other things like where exactly it should position, where it should repeat or not, and if it should repeat only on the x-axis, only on the y-axis, because most backgrounds on the web you see, they are mostly 1 pixel, 2 pixel size. Then repeat them using this repeat property. So that is using the size of that image. Then you
Just faded or not faded.
no, that is a different property. Opacity. Okay, also there. That is all coming in the CSS3. Okay, then you have font and text related, font size, font weight, and then align and all those that stuff where you are some. Then list related, you have ULI. So those you can specify the list style. Those properties go under this key. And then your table related. What type of table cell? It should collapse or not? It should not collapse.
With UL tag?
Unordered list. UL. Unbullet. For lists, achieve the same functionality using div or even span, because by changing the display order. But you should always stick to the more semantic markup. Semantic is that it should make sense. For division, you are having on the page, you are having some division that this is my header, this is my left thing. And you should use div. When you are showing some items in the form of a list, there you should use ULI. In the HTML5 and CSS3, this kind of tags are coming. I mean, it's like you can say nav tag is coming. So that search engines can recognize what is there in your page, and even for other people, like it can be easy to understand. Important part, why cascading style sheet? Cascading because it comes from nearly 5 sources. As seen in the starting of the presentation. So these styles, CS styles, they carry the 5 places: inline styles, embedded styles, link styles, styles. These are like the default, already there on the user computer. You can have contradictory styles. Let's say I define one property like div, and then I've defined all this, and then another dot class. But one there is which is with class. Let's say the class ABC. Then it will be a contradiction. Which rule to apply? So browser has set rules to decide like which styles to apply. So the behavior is the cascading, like how to decide and how all these styles merge and tie to an individual element. Okay, the browser style sheets, they are weakest. Some style is there in the default browser style sheet, and these style sheet have a contradicting style. They will, so in the same way, use style sheets per user style sheets, they will get the preference over the default. And then author style sheets are not nothing or .css files. So if style is defined there, that will be the CSS file. Okay, linked CSS file or linked style file, whatever it is. Then your embedded style in page somewhere using style tags, you have defined some styles, and topmost.
Explain the user style sheet again.
User style sheets are per user style sheet inside your browser. Yeah, have. It gets preference over the default browser. That's common for all the users. Okay. And you have this inline styles, when you have defined as the attribute.
So this is basically the precedent.
Yeah. And there is another thing. So this we have discussed, like if style is defined inside the CSS file, then if the same style is defined in embedded, and this is weaker than inline. That's the way. Then we have some more this thing. So define some style for a tag, only for the tag. That is as compared to if you have defined the same styles for the class. And the things get the ID styles are strongest in that way. And below there is a diagram to understand how browser calculate this specificity, how specific your rule is. So think a 4-digit number, and okay. So for every thing defined inside the style attribute, that gets a 10,000 kind of values. For every rule which is defined inside the style attribute of that element, okay, getting it? And how many define? Only one. Add one line, one only. Yeah. So for each element you can define one. So if you have defined some style, the inside element itself in the style attribute, the score will become 10,000 instantly.
Okay.
Okay, let me first say it like this.
10,000 or 1,000?
10,000. 1,000. Okay. Confusion? Okay. Is if you have like two styles which are contradicting. If not contradicting, there is no problem. Let's say if you have defined some style like hash with some, and your font is equal to bold. Font size is font weight is bold. And then some other class you said div, only div, let's say background is this. Because contradicting, browser will apply both the styles. So first all those styles, but if there is a contradiction, let's say one fine, so you have one color.
So basically does the merging. So suppose there is an attribute defined in a default browser CSS.
Yes.
Then other attribute defined in a user defined. The third one in the CSS file. Fourth attribute in the embedded one, and fifth attribute in the.
No, you not to have specifying the all. If it
is 5 different attributes are defined in all 5 files, then browser will merge all 5 and display that. So one browser. So suppose bound is defined in embedded one.
Yes.
The bold is defined in user defined file.
Yes.
And some color is defined here. So it will
all
merge.
So that's the cascading word used for. It comes from so many sources. So it basically cascade and it reaches the final value.
Now the tricky part comes to suppose
when
background is defined in 2 different.
Yes, exactly.
So how to do that? Okay.
Yes. So this is the way. So every element is a tag type of attribute. So element is nothing, is a tag based style. So if you say div and then define some style, that will get only one score. So browser will calculate based upon your styles. So in your selector, you can have multiple values. You can have keys, you can class, you can have tags. Combination of all also is possible. So to calculate like which style to apply, browser will calculate this value for both styles and check whose value is more. So for, let's say we better take an example here. It will be much better because it's not. Okay, let's take any of the. We have this block div 1. What here is the class thing. First class and tag. Then see this embedding and inline styles and all. Okay. Please we'll see how we can use this image to calculate for both, and which wins based upon these values. So it's already 3.
Yeah, then we'll generate another.
It's like just 2 minutes.
Sharing is
Postponed it?
yeah, tomorrow.
Oh, then we can like.
It is postponed tomorrow. You got the email? Oh, cool.
Okay, so let's quickly this div 1. Let's quickly add one class. Oh, class is already there. Display item. Okay. I have a ID for it and tag is already there. Here for display block item, here is a style for with a key, and define a with also with tag. Okay, so let's add some common property here. Orange, let's use background only. Okay, let's give some different values to it. Okay, and okay, let's give red. Fine. So now we have defined the background property in all
In class based selector also, in ID based selector also,
and based also. So in case of this element, this first element, both styles get applied. So we say div and the style you have defined for all, that's also matching. Okay, class is this, and
this is also defined.
yeah, is also defined. So as let's remember this, let's come to this slide, because the learn is how to use this thing. So is only element means tag. It has got only one mark in this calculation. Classes, pseudo classes, and attribute based styles gets 10 marks. So you add 110. Okay, and in case of ID, it's like 100. So these styles, let's get back to that.
Add a style also.
No, we'll see.
Inline style also you can add in the div 1.
Inline style will also let it come. We'll go to inline one by one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if we by that rule, this start 100 score, the ID, and one with a tag that got only score 1, and this has got 10. So which will win? The ID one, because it's got the 100 value. Okay, so winner will come orange.
It is already
orange. It didn't change. Okay. Now let's. Yeah. Wait. In the Okay, we can get some other color also. Blue. So, okay. Now, because see in the same picture, style got something like 1000 kind of marks. So override inside the style attribute. Here it goes. Okay, I say background. And let's give new color, gray. So because we have like 4 styles, all make a background orange, blue, and green. So browser based upon these pictures calculates the specificity of each rule and applies, and then we got the maximum score wins. Also, that's how calculated. Style attribute, so style be one only.
So this is correct only, but the thing is, last line where you are calculating the score. So was the style attribute was required because style is nothing but the inline thing. And
yes.
And we have already we have discussed that inline has the highest weight.
No, okay. One thing. It's not like CSS file is weakest. So these are 2 lines basically. One line. That is the classification. Like if you define some style inside a CSS file, is weakest. More strong is if you define it inside embedded, and more strong is if you define it aligned attribute tag.
Correct.
This is one rule. The second rule is tag is the weakest, are stronger, and ID the strongest.
Yeah. So there we are talking about 3. Here we are talking about 3. Correct.
Yeah.
Tag, class, ID. These are something we can define in the embedded thing.
Yes.
And other things are like what preferences. So within embedded, if there is a contradiction, then classes ID. This will be the flow.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that sense, we are telling style is something which is part of inline itself. So yeah.
The way is you do this kind of calculation for the below one, the tag, class, and ID. Then the same rules is there. Then style attribute is a
style anyhow will win. Style attribute or inline.
Yeah,
anyhow
they are the strongest thing. There is one more catch there. So if you have seen, there is a bang important. So exclamation sign and important. If you give, then there you will give, it becomes the strong styles. So let's quickly see that, because
you can change the preference.
Yes. Let's say if I again give,
so take it the lowest priority one.
Let's okay.
Give it the lowest priority.
And I say correct. Bang important is like override everything unless it will be override by another bang important. Then again same calculation goes on. Yes. So okay.
So another bang important in front of bang important. Double important.
This is sufficient that I've seen, but it is not recommended way, because see, if you say bang important,
it will be difficult to catch the behavior and follow.
That is one way, and the other thing, if the user style sheet, talked about much here in this calculation, user style sheet. User style sheet is better, means get preference over the CS styles. Not added, not inline. But if you define some style, let's say you have said that paragraph, only paragraph, and you have made like font color is so the this user style sheet, that per user or that per user style sheet that gets overridden over your CSS. So only thing. So you should not use important. because then your style will get importance over that user's style, and he must have done because of his requirements. So you should not do that. In terms of development also, it's a pain. Let's quickly come back to the.
Why it's happening? Suddenly somewhere there is a bang.
So other concept is inheritance. How inheritance works in CSS? Because CSS it's very find style for the parent. The same style gets copied to the element at level. So, but few T's gets inherited, not all. So that here things that are related to text and the appearance, like font color and font size and all that, they gets inherited. So if let's say on the top parent you make the font color as red, so element inside that by default the font color will be red unless you change it. Okay, that element.
Okay.
But those CSS styles with which are related to the boxing and the layout kind of stuff, they never inherited. Borders, padding, regions, let's say you created one div, and inside that you create another div. On the div you create given some border, so the border is coming. That should not come to the child classes. So that it behaves. Questions?
I think it was interactive, so in between itself you were asking some more questions. You have any questions? Thanks so much.
Overwhelmed. A bit.
Stop the recording.